Hey, it's Dustin Yark, freelance writer. Today I'm going to talk about tax deductions that you can make for your freelance writing business, or really any kind of writing business. If you write novels or anything else, you can probably do this as well. Just a quick disclaimer, this is not financial advice, so check with your accountant or some kind of tax professional before you do anything that I discuss here. The laws will also vary a lot from country to country. I'm in Canada, but things might be different where you live. But in most places, if you're self-employed, they'll let you claim tax deductions for your business. So I think here the main thing is that you have to be, I forget exactly how it's worded, but you're like pursuing a business with a reasonable expectation of making profit or something like that. So if you are seriously making an attempt to make money online through whether it's blogging, making ebooks, or writing for clients, anything like that, if you think that there's a chance that you'll make money at it and you're specifically pursuing it to make money, then I would classify yourself personally as self-employed, and that means that you get to deduct any expenses related to your writing business, as well as having to obviously declare your income that you make as well. Even if you only make like couple $100 a year on tax broker, I would recommend always declaring that on your taxes, because you never know when they're going to find it. Here in Canada, I think the government did an audit where they required PayPal to provide all of the transactions for Canadian businesses that had PayPal. So even if you're only getting payments through PayPal and then spending it like that, they can still track that back to you, whether it has your social insurance number tied to it or whatever. So it's not worth the risk of not declaring your taxes, because then it's always in the back of your mind, like, what if they catch up with me? So I would say if you make money writing, just declare it and then try and claim as many expenses as you are legally entitled to as well. So I'll get into some of those for you here. First thing is your office. So I've got my own room here that I do all my writing. I sit here every day and do my freelance writing business. So normally you can take the square footage of the office and then divide it by the total size of your house, and then you can claim that against your rent or your mortgage. I think for mortgage, you might only be able to claim it against the interest. I forget how that works, but definitely if you have office space and it's a reasonable amount of size in your house, then you can do that. Next thing is your software. So I claim Grammarly Premium and other software that I specifically have to use for my writing business as an expense. If you're a novelist, you can write off Scrivener if you buy it. If you use Microsoft Office, I think Microsoft Office is on like an annual subscription model now, so you can probably claim that every year, or if it's a one-time thing, just write it off. Any software that is directly needed to run your business, I guess, like any accounting software stuff too, that'll also apply. Also your office supplies. So I'm totally paper free. I don't even have a printer or anything, which I run into problems with that sometimes, and I have to go to like Staples to print stuff off. But if you have like pens, paper, or anything else that you use for paperwork for your business, you can write off all of that stuff. The big one is if you buy a new computer and you're serious about writing, I would say you should be able to write that off. It might be considered a capital asset, and you might have to amortize that over several years. If you know a little bit of accounting, you know that kind of like big things, you wanted to kind of depreciate those over several years as opposed to smaller things that can just get written off in 1 year. So you might have to split that expense up over several years, but talk to your accountant and see how that works. Any big equipment or hardware might be a special case, but little stuff like that, or like a cheap laptop, it's probably fine. The next time I buy a new PC, I'm going to try and write off as a business expense. Again, I'm going to have to talk to my accountant first and see if that's possible, but I think I can justify even like a big beefy gaming PC. I can use it to edit videos or whatever else I need to do, especially if I'm streaming on Twitch or something. If I'm making money from that as well, I can justify that for my business. So I spend like 12 hours a day in front of my computer, so I want it to be fast and have good hardware. So yeah, basically any computer you can get, as long as you're not like buying like a brand new $3,000 computer every year, then you should be good. Again, talk to your accountant, but if you buy a computer, I would see if you can write it off, because that's like a $1,000+ expense probably that you can claim against your writing. Any kinds of utilities and stuff, so internet, phone, or other expenses, basically anything that you at least partially use for your business, you can write off. I would be cautious about writing off your car for any home-based business unless you actually travel and visit clients. If you do use your car, you have to track mileage and see how much you actually use for business. That can be a bit of a pain, but if you legitimately have to travel for your business, for most writers, I don't think that's the case. But definitely internet, phone. If you talk to clients, I do everything by email, so I don't even count my phone, but internet for sure, you can write off a proportion of that, say like 8 hours a day times however much that is, so like a third of a day. Other things that I write off: my gas, electricity, house insurance. I already mentioned mortgage, the interest only for me, property taxes, and my water heater rental. So all of that stuff goes on my self-employment tax deductions. And check with your accountant, but you can probably claim all that stuff, or maybe even other stuff that I haven't thought of, but that's it. And transactions is the next thing. So whenever you use PayPal or any other kind of payment processors, you want to take that as an exchange. So if somebody pays you $20 and you only get like 18, 22 or something after PayPal takes their fee, then definitely take those transaction fees as an expense. As well, any exchange rates that you might have gains or losses from that. So if you have a gain, then you'll have to declare that as extra income. But if you're taking money from a country that their currency is actually worse than yours, then you would take a loss. I think that's how that works. Yeah. So for me, I live in Canada and I get paid in US dollars. So it's actually a nice benefit. I get like a 20 to 30% bump on whatever I charge. And then obviously I have to declare that extra money on my taxes. But anything that kind of changes the amount that you get from based off what you invoice to what actually goes in your bank account, you can take that as an expense, or in some cases it might actually be extra income for you. You want to write off all of your online stuff. I just kind of lump online stuff all together. So that's like your web hosting, your domains, your email tools, like if you have MailChimp or Aweber or anything like that for your mailing lists. Basically any online equivalents of software that you use. I guess, yeah, Grammarly kind of counts in that too. I count as Grammarly as a software, but I guess it's kind of online based too. And last thing is education. So if you're investing in yourself, write it off. So a lot of courses or memberships, if they're directly related to your business or your field, like, so if they're designed to help you improve as a writer or help build blogs better or something like that, you might be able to write that off. So keep your receipts for all of that stuff and claim that when your taxes come around. Like I said, definitely check with an accountant before you do any of these, but that gives you some idea of some stuff that you might be able to deduct from your taxes. Normally, my freelance writing business runs pretty lean, so I don't have very much expenses anyways. I maybe claim like $1,000 between everything. Like, I think last year I bought like an office chair. That alone was like $3,000 and not $300. And then on top of that, like websites and then like Grammarly and stuff like that, you might get like $1,000 off of like a $20,000 or $30,000 income. So yeah, definitely it adds up. So I would keep as many tax deduction expenses as you can and bring it to your accountant and see what they say at the end of the year. That's about it. So subscribe if this was helpful. I'm going to have more tips for writers in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next video.